Hey,
We're back
yeah. Where are we back from?
from last time we were here.
We're live again,
We are.
and we're happy to be with you. And who's with us?
Someone's with us.
Yeah, let us know.
Exactly.
All right.
Today we're talking about getting it all done. And that's a really big topic because there's always so much to do in life with little kids. Or even without little kids.
Yeah.
But this time of our lives, like right now, we have 3 kids. We have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I've never been this busy.
No, I think that's accurate. That definitely in the top 3 busiest times of our lives, if not the very busy. It's very busy right now.
Do you guys have kids? Are you guys busy? Let us know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a hot topic for us as well, making sure that we have time for getting the stuff done that we think is important to get done. And that's what we're talking about today. So we're glad you've joined us.
Yeah.
So
what are some of the things that we have going on like a weekly basis?
I mean, we've got obviously work and making sure that the kids are at school and where they need to be when they need to be there. We've got church activities. We've got working on
YouTube
real organized
stuff.
working on YouTube. So that takes a lot of time.
There are like kids sports activities, and there's cooking, and there's cleaning, and there's making sure that kids have clean clothes to wear, and we have clean clothes to wear. And then like there's self-care and hobbies for us too, and social life.
Yeah.
And that's important to make time for too. Do you guys make time for self-care? Do you?
Yeah.
Ashley
I
went and had a massage Monday, and that was amazing. I felt like a different person when I got back. So self-care is important.
Yep, absolutely. So if you've just joined us, maybe a couple of minutes late, then yeah, we're talking about making sure that we have time for getting it all done, or making sure that we use our time effectively to get the stuff done that we think is important to get done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you, I think it's very common to recognize this, like looking at other people and seeing how they seem to get everything done without, seeming to break a sweat, and then asking yourself, like, why is this not like that?
Yeah, everyone has like a neighbor or that annoying mom from your kid's school that just like, oh, they just have everything done. They're always at all meetings on time, and kids are always have all their things in order, and you're just thinking like, how can they be on top of everything? And we all have 24 hours in the day. We all are able to do the same amount of things.
In theory. Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to talk about, first of all, we want to put this disclaimer here. You shouldn't compare yourself. I think we've talked about that in previous lives as well. I think it's very easy to get down on yourself when you look at other people and you see like this, tiny like 2% window of what their actual life looks like, and then you get demotivated, and that starts working against you in actually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So I think that's important to say before we dive into the things that you can actually do to get more done, to get it all done. And while we were preparing for this live, we narrowed it down to, or kind of grouped it together into 3 groups: the things that you can do, the things that you can tweak with regards to your time and your environment to make sure that you get it all done.
Yeah. First thing is to be more intentional about how you use your time, and how you utilize that energy that you have. So be intentional. That's the first thing.
Yeah. And secondly is to be more productive. So once you've set your sight on actually doing something, you've decided I'm going to do this now, is to be more productive during that time. And then finally, it's making sure that your environment is set up in such a way that it makes it easier and not more difficult for you to do the things that you've set out to do. So those are the 3 things.
And we're going to dive into those now. So the first one was to be more intentional about how you use your time and how you really use the time that you have.
Yeah.
So here, really what you want to do is to focus on the things that are most important to you. So think about what is it in your life that you really, really want to get done. It could be spending time with the kids, or it could be cleaning, or it could be cooking. It's different for everyone. but we need to focus on the things that are most important.
So think about that, and please share it with us in the comments. We'd love to have a little bit of interaction here. Let us know what it is that is most important to you. And I mean, for us, it is obviously you've got the things that are important by default. Like you have to go to work. You have to make sure that you're putting food on the table. You have to sleep at least, a certain number of hours every night. That's being put to the test right now with our 1-year-old, but but then there are other things that are just based on our values that are more important to us.
Exactly. For me, I've always loved to cook, so for me it's really important to cook, to have a homemade meal. That might not be important to you. Maybe you're fine with takeout dinner. That's fine. More power to you. I really enjoy cooking, so it's also something that I use to wind down at the end of the day, to cook a meal. So that's something that I really enjoy, and that's something I prioritize a lot.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I'd be surprised if any of you, if you have a family, like if that's also not on the top of your list of things that are important to you, that like it's easy to do the things that you need to do. It's also easy to put the extra stuff aside when it comes to, building a relationship with your kids, with your family, bonding with your children. And that's something that, when life gets busy, it's easy to just forget to do. And so for us, scheduling time with the kids, I know it sounds pretty morbid, but making sure that you have time with the kids is important. Because if you don't, then that time is going to get eaten up by other things.
Yeah, especially for you. I mean, not that it's not important for me, but I was stayed home with the kids for a few years. And you had full-time school, full-time job, and other things. So that we made that really clear from the beginning that it was important that we schedule in time for Binna to have individual dates with the kids so that he could spend quality time with them. Whereas I had more time with them and more time to make quality connections with the kids.
Yeah.
So we still do that. We've been better and worse at it, but right now it's going really well again. So every kid has a scheduled date with Binna every week.
Yeah, and I really enjoy that, and the kids really enjoy that.
They do.
We've kind of settled into a few activities that they seem to really enjoy doing with me, like going out and picking berries or painting nails or sorting Pokemon cards.
Exactly.
Fun stuff.
He's the one that Mia goes to paint her nails, not me.
Well, what can I say? I'm pretty good at it.
So, coupled with the things that are most important, you need to do the things that are most important to you. Coupled with that is also to then not do the things that are not important to you.
Yeah, learning how to say no.
Exactly. So what are some of the things that you say no to in your life? For us, we say no to, we've actually been really good the last year, I almost want to say, at saying no to watching TV every night. Like we used to, like most people, I think, sit down at the end of the day, watch some Netflix and relax together like that, like wind down. So we found out that's not what's most important to us. So now, I mean, we still watch TV shows. We still watch movies occasionally. We're not animals, but but we don't do it every night. And that was something that wasn't important to us. So therefore we said, okay, we're going to say no to watching TV every night.
Yeah. And along those lines, I think, there are things that, okay, first of all, let me say on the topic of TV, like we schedule time to watch TV, and we keep it to, I think, what works for us. We're not saying that, hey, if you watch TV, then shame on you. I think it's a nice way to relax. I think it's important for people to have a way to relax. But for now, it works for us to sit down maybe a couple of times a week and watch TV at the end of the day, not every night of the week. Other things include, the time that we spend on maintenance. And there, like we were talking about this, the car that we had while we were still in school, I used to spend a lot of time on fixing the car. That meant looking on YouTube's, looking at, like tutorials and schematics and stuff and figuring out what's wrong and doing a lot of troubleshooting. It's fun. I enjoyed that.
It's fun.
But it takes up a lot of time. And, we had a little bit more time maybe back then, not so much money. So it made sense to do that. Now for us, it makes sense to, to say, hey, like, I know I can fix stuff. I should be able to fix stuff. I'm an engineer, but it makes more sense to pay someone to do that. And yes, I miss out on the fun stuff of like fixing the car, but we had a similar situation with the basement.
Oh man. So like, okay. So not this summer, but last summer our basement flooded for the second time. And this time around I was 9 months pregnant. I actually had the baby like a month after. No,
it wasn't
3 weeks
even.
after.
Yeah, it was like
2
a
weeks
couple
after.
Weeks after. Yeah, it was not fun.
So
you were like, you were down in the basement. You're like, Bene! And I just knew because we'd already had one flood in the basement. So I was like, no. And sure enough, yeah, our basement was flooded. That was not fun.
So there we were like, you know what, this time we're not going to be like spackling and ripping out insulation and doing all that stuff. We will pay for it. We'll have someone come in. They'll do the whole thing. Yeah. And actually, like, we came home from the hospital with Lucas, and that day we had a handyman in fixing stuff, and he was there the day before as well. So he was like, congratulations. Thanks.
Now, it might sound like we just have, a bunch of money to throw around for other people to fix our problems. That is not the case at all. And we have to be intentional about, and that's the point of what we're talking about, being intentional about how you use your time, and also in that context, how you use your money, recognizing the things that do end up taking a lot of your time, and seeing if maybe you can delegate that, if you can outsource that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Unur and Shira. I can't think of anything I say no to trying to get back into normal life after being sick for so long. Yeah.
I hope you get into normal life soon as well. And I'm sure, when you're sick, there are a lot of things we don't say no to as well. We watch a lot more TV. We eat a lot more junk food. It's okay. You're sick. So
exactly.
There you go. But back to, I actually had another comment on the what we say no to. We say no to going to the gym, and that doesn't mean we don't exercise. But I think that's a really good example of something we've chosen. Like, we want to exercise. That's important, especially for me. It's been important after we had Lucas, because I think that's our last kid. So I want to get back into shape, and like now I'm like really set on it. But I just don't see time to go into the gym. So if I wanted to, that would take time away from my family. I'd get up a lot earlier, get there, shower there. It takes a lot of time. So we exercise at home. And that means we bought a few like exercise equipments, but it's really just do it together, do it in the living room, do it in our backyard. And that's something that we do instead. So we say going to the gym, and yes, going in here. So that just means we use less time on it.
It's not fancy, but it works.
It works.
You've been really good at it. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay.
So, so if you've just joined us, recapping a little bit, we're talking about, making sure that we have time for getting it all done. Busy lives, we're parents. It can seem very overwhelming, especially when you start comparing yourself to other parents. Don't do that. But we're talking about, making a list of the things that are most important to you, and trying to identify on the other side of that coin the things that you can say no to, the things that you spend time on that maybe you could spend less time on. Now, once you've done that, I think there's a final piece to that puzzle that's very important to make it, make sure it all fits together. And that is using a calendar.
Yes, for sure. We use a calendar almost religiously. Every time I pull out my calendar, people are always like, what? That's what your calendar looks like? I'm just pulling it up right now.
There you go. This is kind of what it looks like.
And yeah, it looks scary, and there are a lot of colors there, but we can take some, like, it's the kids' calendar and ours and our work calendar. So it's like all everything together.
The games in the Premiership.
Yeah, Manchester United's football games, important stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, it just has everything in there. And you learn really quickly just to look at your colors and not care about the rest. Yeah. But if we didn't have that, I would be dropping a lot of balls. Like, Ben is a lot more just analytical, and I think he remembers a lot more stuff. I'll remember that, and like 2 seconds later, it's gone. So I have to write things down. If I didn't have that calendar, I would be a hot mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coupled with the calendar, we have weekly planning sessions where we sit down, usually on Sundays, sometimes on Mondays, depending on what happens on Sundays. And we sit down and we simply say, okay, what's going on this week that's different from the norm? And then we like schedule in like those play dates for Bitten and the kids. We schedule in like parties we're going to, birthday things, if there are any things out of the norm. And then our free time, we like, okay, what things are important to us that we can then fit into these slots that are free.
Playing board games.
I mean, that's important to us. He's joking, not really. So like, we also schedule in relax time. And some people are like, man, that's so stressful that you schedule in relax time. But that's because it's important. And I want to make sure I get it done. And we relax during relax time.
And to be honest, we also relax during the other times when we're, when we're doing things that we know we've decided are important to us. There's a really nice feeling once you get into that groove of knowing that you're working on the things that are most important for here and now, and knowing that things aren't dropping between chairs. So yes, it does take a little bit of I mean, it's creating a new habit. If you're not used to keeping a calendar, especially like if you're not used to keeping a calendar with your spouse, it takes some getting used to. But once you're into it, it's such a nice way to just catch, whatever's going on. If somebody mentions something, we notice that, there's a light on in the car that, we need to look into, or anything else, like just putting it in the calendar. Then we know that it's not going to be something that 3 months down the line, that light is still on. Maybe you've got a few more lights that have turned on, and things are just getting worse. And you're kicking yourself every time you get into the car because you're just not getting it fixed.
You talk about the red car, right?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Comments.
Yes.
I love saying no. I used to never say no, but then I realized it's not always bad.
No,
that is
exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
So like people get stressed from not saying no because we want to do it all. Like basically people are good people and they want to help. They want to do everything for everyone and for themselves. And we just can't. So there are some things we have to say no to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be just not watching TV, not doing this for yourself. It also means saying no to other people if they ask you to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good. Thanks.
I think, it's a bit of a mindset tweak, but absolutely be okay with saying no when it doesn't fit into your schedule and fit in with your priorities.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now, so if you've just joined us, we're talking about getting it all done, making sure that we prioritize our time in such a way and that we utilize our time in such a way that helps us to get the stuff done that we think is important.
And we narrowed down to 3 things you can do. First one was to be more intentional with your time. And the second one that we're going to talk about now is to be more productive with your time.
Yeah. If you've liked what we've talked about so far, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, then subscribe. Also, you can head to our website, realorganized.net, for more organizing tips and tips on, productivity and how to, get it all done.
Exactly.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, be more productive. So here we're talking about setting your sights on something and then getting it done. So really like do what you need to do faster.
Yeah.
You have an app that you like to use.
So it's more of I've tried different productivity apps, and I think they can work differently or work well in different contexts. I think one of the most powerful things that I've found I can do to make sure that I use my time, that when I sit down at my computer or I sit down to do something, is use the tomato timer. So you set a timer for 15 minutes. I've settled on 25 minutes. There's actually a website, I think it's like tomatotimer or something.com. You can Google it. It's automatically set to 25 minutes. You click the button. It's easy as you would imagine. And during that time, I think just psychologically, what you're doing when you sit down, you're starting a new task or continuing with a task, and you click that timer. You're telling yourself, hey, this is what I'm working on for the next 25 minutes. Makes it easier to not get distracted and start doing other things. I would definitely recommend doing that. And then what you do is then, at the end of those 25 minutes, you get up, go for a quick walk, go grab a glass of water, go talk to another human being, those kind of things that kind of, give you back some of that energy that you just used on the task. Doing that in series is a really good way to get a lot done in a short period of time.
Yeah.
We've got a comment.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even see it.
Now we are open to getting someone else to clean our windows, do big repairs in the house, and maybe even mow the lawn for us. But being able to keep the house tidy and clean has become much easier. That's really good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah, it could be having people come in and do these things for you. It doesn't have to be, but that could be. If that's what you want to spend your money on because you want that, then go for it for sure.
Yeah, good point from all of it. And and then because we've learned some tips and tricks from you guys, drop zones, for example. Thanks. No, we're glad that we're able to help.
Exactly. Yeah. We do a lot of different videos. Actually, I forgot to mention, but we have a video on the calendar, our Google Calendar, and how we set that up for family use. Go check that one out on our YouTube channel after this. And also something on drop zones. Yeah, we have a few videos on we're actually mentioning drop zones too.
Yeah.
They're all over.
They're all over. All right.
In a different way.
So
yeah.
So I think the next thing we talked about when you sit down, you have a certain like basically doing things faster. You've got a task and you want to make sure you don't get distracted. So making sure you do that with the tomato timer. I think there's another way that you can look at it is if you have a certain amount of time, then making sure that maybe you squeeze in more during that time. And that brings us back to the cooking.
Yeah. For example, like when I cook, I enjoy cooking. We talked about it already. But some days are just not, there's just no time for it. Like if I come home late from work and then the kids have to go to swim class and we go and then we come home late, there's just not time for me to make a good nutritional meal. So something that I do is that on days that are not like that, I cook a good meal and I make like a triple portion and then I freeze whatever we don't eat, which is probably enough for 2 other days. So that on days that are crazy, I know they're crazy. Like I anticipate that. So I take food out of the freezer and then bam, you have like a home cooked meal that's really good for you without needing to use all the time to make it. Yeah. So basically, that's just one example of doing more on the time you're having. So if you're doing something anyways, is there any way that you can prepare for another time already? Yeah,
absolutely. And it says must watch the calendar video. Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. I think it's a really good way to get started on Google Calendar. We go through how you share it with your significant other, how you use it, and take some examples of how we use it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but what are your favorite productivity tips? So we've talked about a couple of things. Please share yours with us, and we'd love to hear them. But I think
one thing that's important to mention there is also that you do things faster. You do more in the time you have, but also you need to lower the distractions. That's how you do more in the time that you have, because if you're not distracted, you're able to be more productivity.
Be productive.
That's the word. Okay. You're able to be more productive. Some of the things that are distraction for me is I used to watch America's Next Top Model every time I would cook or every time I would clean something. I saw all the seasons. I don't know how many there are now, but up until a few years ago, I've seen every single season there because I watched it as I was doing things. And Ben always commented on it, was like, Christine, are you really watching it and doing things? I'm like, no, it's just in the background. And it was in the background, but my mind was still wandering occasionally and I just wasn't doing it as fast as I could. So
you make me sound like I'm looking over your shoulder.
You're not. Come on, you were just because you weren't interested in it at all. And you're like, that's my. Never mind. That's something else. So my point here is that I would never have admitted to this 5 years ago that I wasn't as productive. But now I'm looking back, you know what? You really aren't as productive if you split your attention. And women cannot do that. Men can't do it, but you always say, well, women can split their attention, and women has
these are your words.
These are my words. I'm a woman. It's okay. No, multitasking. That's the thing. You know what? We're not as good as we think we are. If you focus on one task, you get it done better. That's just bottom line.
Yeah. So things like watching TV shows. it's very easy when you sit down with a task to, to bring your phone up and you let it sit on the desk, and then every 2 minutes you've got a notification, and then you're like this. That's not useful. That's not going to help you be productive. So turn off the Wi-Fi on the phone, or go charge it somewhere else in the house. I think that's also a way to make sure that you're being more productive while you're doing, like you said, you're doing things 100% while you're doing those things.
Like playing with the kids.
Yeah.
Like be productive when you play with the kids. Like put your phone away. Like having that up and just checking something, they notice it. Put it away. Do 100% what you're doing.
we made an effort to do that, to use the phone less during that time after we come home from work until they go to sleep. And they're actually, now that we've talked to them about it, they're really good at reminding us if we do.
Don't be on your phone, Mom. I'm like, fine. Yeah. Of course, put it away.
It's a good talk to have with your kids. So maybe something to consider. Let's look at some comments.
Yes.
Shira, go ahead.
How do you overcome negative thoughts that get in the way of productivity? Oh, good question. Is this even something you struggle with? Yeah, of course it is. I mean, people say I'm really positive, and I am, but of course I have negative thoughts about this, and they do get me down. I'm sure you have the same thing.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, I recognize the feelings of overwhelm. We talk a lot about overwhelm on this channel because I think it's a very common thing for people, at our stage in life and at other stages in life as well, to feel while you're just going about your day-to-day life. I think one of the things that's most important for me when I kind of when I'm looking at our goals and objectives and things that I want to accomplish, and I see this big picture of there's everything I need to do, is to break it down, is to go back to basics, to figure out, okay, so how can I to take it apart and line it up in such a way that makes sense. And then what I need to do, when I have those feelings, then all I need to do is just focus on what's next, the next tiny little task. And I think this is an interest area of ours, and something that we also try to infuse in a lot of our videos. But this the psychology behind what's going on while you're doing things, while you're organizing. What happens is when you break it down like that, and you finish a tiny task, it builds that feeling of success. We can go into the motivation, but we could also just boil it down to the fact that success begets success. So once you can get good at just being successful at those little tasks, and it makes it easier for you to continue on that path. And once you do that, you're basically pushing out the feelings of negativity with the feelings of success. I'm doing this. Yeah. So I think, breaking it down to sum it up.
I love that. A lot of things he says is kind of what I'm going to say too, but something I used to struggle with was the negative thoughts of the dishes, for example. We were really bad at getting the dishes done back when you were in college, when we lived in the States. There would just always be dishes from the day before in our kitchen. There would always be dishes in the sink and on the counter, and we just wouldn't get them done until dinner was ready. And I would have that thought, what's the point? They're just going to come back again. It's never ending. So what's the point of actually getting it done and keeping it up? And I would get I was getting down on myself about it, and then I get annoyed when I walked to the kitchen and saw it again. And I really felt like that was just impossible to get that done. Fast forward now, 7 years later, I think 6 years. Wow, we're old. A lot of years later now. And we actually do get the dishes done every night as soon as dinner's done. Our kitchen counters are always clear. And I thought that was impossible that day and time. Now I know that it's not. And I think it's just having that vision of what you want that really helps you stick with it. So now when I have some dishes and for some reason we're sick or something and leaving in the sink, that thought doesn't get me down.
To school.
Or this morning, we were late and I was running out to school, and you were I was like, hey Benny, can you load the dishwasher, all this stuff, because I'm 10 minutes late already. So that thought doesn't get me down anymore because I have a clearer image of the vision because I've seen it. So I guess, I don't know if that answers your question, Shara, but just having like an image in your mind of what you want it to become. And then as you get closer to that, then realize, hey, this is possible. And then that negativity will go away. So if you just know that the negativity will go away as you get closer to your goal.
Yeah. Celebrate the small wins along the way.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Plan to do things, Oliver says, during the time that you have the most energy. Mornings are my most productive time. Yeah, that's actually something that we wanted to talk about next. So good comment.
So wait a second. We'll get that too. Then Shira again, she's saying, it's comforting knowing I'm not the only one who struggles with the overwhelm. Yes. It's nice you have it. Have a word.
Oh,
a word too. I didn't have a word for it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And then I'm most productive when I do things I enjoy. The things I need to do that are not so fun, I look for ways to make them fun. Like ironing, listen to motivational tasks motivational talks. Yeah.
Okay.
That's another way. I can't remember what like the psychology phrase is for that, but basically coupling things that are undesirable with things that are, things that you enjoy. Like making sure that if you don't enjoy going to the gym or mowing the lawn, that but you enjoy listening to audiobooks, and maybe combining those is going to make it more likely to do the things that you also need to do. That you don't enjoy as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, like Oliver was saying, is to like use the time that you're most productive.
Yeah. So managing your energy levels. I came home from work today. and I've kind of been thinking this week, like we kind of need to mow the lawn once before stowing the lawnmower for the winter. There's a couple of like small tasks in the backyard that we also wanted to finish before the winter. I came home and yes, I spent some time with the kids, just kind of fooling, playing around, having fun with the kids,
wrestling,
roughhousing a little bit. Yes, we enjoy that. They enjoy that. And then I was already a little bit tired beforehand. I was definitely more tired after that. But it's predictable when you come home from work. It's like, especially late in the week, you come home from work. I know I'm gonna be tired. I'm not gonna be, even if I have a stretch of time where I theoretically could go out and do the stuff that I need to do in the backyard. And going back to the productivity is anticipating those times and anticipating what those time slots are going to look like in the context of the tasks that you also have set out to complete. And for us, that was, basically just bringing it up and again, kind of like dissecting it and realizing, okay, how can we do this, tomorrow, make sure that we actually get it done. I realized that, with mowing the lawn, we get like a garbage truck or like a,
for like gardening garbage.
Yeah.
Then to come pick it up twice a month. So.
Yeah. But and they just did that. So maybe we, I should have picked up on that before, poor planning on our behalf. But
no, it was raining that whole weekend before.
But then we're thinking, okay, so how do we, what do I do with the grass? I don't want to put it in the bags because those bags, between now and the next time the garbage truck will come pick it up, it's gonna like rot the bottom and that's not good. And then we're gonna like sand down some stuff and paint it, but we need to get some planks to basically put on the top of our shed.
Enough about that.
The thing that we needed to do was basically pick it apart and delegate. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do this. It's gonna be easier once we know exactly who's doing what, and how we're gonna deal with those issues. That's
exactly. Yeah. And like also anticipating, well, what will the kids be doing during this time? What will we do if Lucas all of a sudden starts crying and like all these things? So like we already anticipate what might go wrong and what we're gonna do about those things if they go wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I love the term gardening garbage.
There's a better word.
And yard waste is like. We hereby dub it gardening garbage, and we'll continue to refer to it as such from now on.
We will probably never do a gardening video.
We don't. Yeah, we don't have. We're not.
Our figures are not green. Mine is red here. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So that's two of the things that you can do to make sure that you can get it all done. Again, if you've just joined us, We're talking about getting it all done, and making sure that you like organize your time, that you're intentional about how you use your time, and that you're productive in the tasks that you decide to do. The third item that we wanted to talk about is making sure that your environment is set up to not impede you, but help you along the way. If you've enjoyed what we've talked about so far, then
give us a like.
Yep, and head to our website, realorganized.net. We've got some more resources to help you along the way in getting more organized. So check those out.
Yeah, we just updated it, so check it out. If you've checked it out already, look at it again.
All right, and okay, so back to the environment. So I think if you think about scissors, think about where the scissors are in your house.
Ha! Okay. That wasn't planned.
That wasn't
there
planned.
It is. Okay.
And how often you might be looking for things like scissors or tape or your keys or your phone or whatever. How often that becomes, and also like files or folders on your computer, like it applies in a whole lot of different contexts. How often you spend time on looking for things that you need, certain tools you need to complete a task. If you think about it, like those things, ideally, if you can make those as automatic as possible, then you're spending a whole lot less time on both stressing out and actually just the time itself it takes that you could be using on other things, on looking for your keys or your phone.
Yeah. Looking
for your keys before you go out to do the things that you do during the day. That shouldn't be an activity in the mornings. Then something's wrong. If it's taking you like 15 minutes to find your keys, then something's not right.
Yeah. So have like a designated place for those things that you use a lot. So like keys, phone, scissors, like have a designated place for them. So you know exactly where they always are. When you come in, you put them straight away where they are, like your keys. So almost mindlessly. You don't have to think about it, just like you just automatically do it. That will save you so much time and energy.
Absolutely. Exactly. And that's the point, is to make those tasks that we know again are predictable, make them automatic. I mean, like if I ask you, where's the tape or where's super glue or where are the scissors, then because of the way that we've set up our home, I mean, it's nice to have things organized. It's nice for things to look nice, but
it's more important for things to function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you not to waste time on those.
Yeah.
On those things.
So like, for example, like today I got home from work, I opened the mailbox, got the mail out. I walked into the house, and as I was walking in, I was already sorting it, and I wanted to put the stuff we didn't want, the mail waste. I don't know. Junk mail. Well, the junk mail, newspaper, all those things.
We're coming up with all these like good new words for what to call common.
So I walked into the house and I took off my coat and my shoes. I put the junk mail in the junk mail little folder basket that we have in the kitchen that was already there. I put the letters like on the kitchen counter where people will pick them up. So we had some systems. I just put that. I didn't even think about it. It was just something that I was just doing. And therefore, when you don't think about it, it doesn't drain you. It doesn't take from that energy that you have because it's automatic.
Yeah.
Like how many people, well, I mean, yes, maybe sometimes in the evening, it is draining to brush your teeth, but really most of the time probably isn't. Like it's just something you do. You don't ask yourself like, oh, should I really brush my teeth tonight? Occasionally, sometimes, maybe, yeah. But most of the time, you probably just do it.
Yeah, and that's the third thing. To sum it up, make sure that your home environment, especially, it could apply at work as well, but that it's set up around your routines, to make sure that your daily routines and the tasks that require you to use certain tools, whether that be actual physical tools or scissors or your phone or your keys or whatever, that it's set up in such a way that you always know where those things are. Because what happens is you save time and you save energy, and you can reinvest that time and energy in getting the things that that we talked about at the beginning of this video that you think are important, getting those things done.
Yeah, and that's actually, like, I love how you said reinvest that time and energy. We actually did a PDF about some of the top 3 mistakes that you make when you're organizing. And that's one of the things that you get out of that is when you don't do those mistakes, then you're able to have more energy that you can then reinvest. Like we talk about in there. So you can go to our website and get that PDF as well.
Yeah, that's realorganized.net.
Exactly. I do want to mention one more thing though about this here, program your environment in a very nice program your environment. It sounds so robotic, but it really is to also make sure that the tasks that you do regularly, it could be cleaning or cooking or whatever, make sure you have what you need on hand. So, I mean, most of our cleaning supplies are downstairs. Our bathroom is here upstairs. So we have our bathroom cleaning supplies in the bathroom, and we're kitchen cleaning supplies in the kitchen. And we have our vacuum out on the wall charging there right by the door to the kitchen, so we can grab it easily and vacuum in the hallway where there's always little rocks that the kids bring in for some reason. Like there's always little rocks there. But just like thinking when I'm cooking, like the things I need as I'm stirring and something is right there within reach, so I don't have to like walk to the side of the kitchen. So just think about what you use where and program your environment so that they're accessible easily. And you don't have to use extra energy to get the things you need to do a task.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, I was talking about.
Shara, I moved the bathroom cleaner to the bathroom, and my toilet is a lot cleaner more often.
Yay! Exactly. Way to go. Okay.
Yeah. So just to sum up, the 3 things that you can do to make sure you get it all done, or get more done than you maybe currently do, are to make sure that you're intentional about the way that you organize and utilize your time. Be more productive, remove the distractions and get more done in the time slots that you do have. And then finally, program your environment, set up your environment to help you along the way, and to not make it difficult for you to do the things that you want to get done.
Exactly.
And need to get done.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoy when you come out to these lives. If you have ideas for topics that you'd like us to cover in the future, we'd love to hear those. Yeah. I mean, the whole idea with us doing these lives once a month is so that we get more of an interaction. We want to hear some of the things that you have on your mind in the context of the things that we're talking about, and also get more ideas for things that you'd like us to talk about in the future. So we really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. And we will see you next week when we continue with our normal video schedule.
Exactly.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.